I do some absolute bullshitting around here to just get the money in the middle, raising the nuts here. I recently played the highest stakes cash game I've ever played online, and I want to share some hands with you. Right, this is literally the very first hand of the session. I have pocket deuces in the big blind, have a clear defend against an MP open raise. The game is played with a large ante, more than a big blind in the middle, so we need to defend our big blind very, very wide. Very good board for a big blind, obviously for my hand also with a straight flush draw up here. He can have all kinds of overcards, not donking on mono boards though. He starts off with a small c-bet. I have an easy call. Turn is another 4. Shouldn't change anything. Leading might be an option, but not really interested in that here. He checks back. Yeah, we are pretty confident in our hand winning. And then even river a straight. I feel like being really nervous in this game. It just feels different if the pot is 10,000 instead of like 1,000 or $100, and you think about a 75% bet or a 25% bet when it's actually just those numbers you put out there. So I tried to go as normal as possible, and I think pocket deuces are just a pretty clear normal size value bet here. I went with 75%. Yeah, started losing 12.5k in the very first hand. Lucky me not seeing the 3 of clubs on the river. That would have been some more fireworks. I'm not sure whether he missed a value raise here as well, but I think that's a kind of standard normal-ish played hand. Yeah, let's see how things go. I don't know, at lots of folds, where in this big ante game you actually lose quite a lot just when not playing hands, but yeah, not running well there with the card distribution. But the pots we played went quite well. Let's check out the next one. Cutoff is open raising to 2.2x with king 10 offsuit in the small blind, and actually the big blind is the recreational player the game is running around. So we definitely want to jump in the mix here with that ante in the middle. King 10 offsuit is an absolute standard flat, and this guy behind makes it very clear VPIP. So I'm calling. This guy jumps in as we hoped for, and we flop a pretty decent nut draw here. 8 outs to the freaking super nuts. Donking might be an option. I rather collect some info because the guy in the big blind is very call happy, which will make the very good regular on the cutoff very honest. He won't start having any random bluffs, and he will show me when he has it. So we are not going anywhere, but there's the chance that it's a check down, and actually I know one of these players is out. Then we can maybe do something about it. All right, we get the check down, and now praying for a good turn. Cutoff is kind of out of this hand. If I try to do some damage here, he will believe every big bet that I'm firing against the recreational, and there's still a chance that this guy just has nothing while I have nut equity here. So turn is a 6, unfortunately not one of my straight cards, but I definitely need to see the river. There is some fold equity. The cutoff is out of the hand more or less if he doesn't have like 5-6 or pocket 6s. Maybe calls one with a jack, but if I bomb bet here, he won't go anywhere. He will just do nothing. So the question is now, how do we not donate too much in a freaking calling station, calling every pair at the same time, for sure see a river and build a pot in case we hit? So I kind of go for a large bet is my plan here. Didn't want to go crazy, polarize over betting, and then get the call from any 6-5 jack queen. This is really how the game played. But here he folds now his ace deuce. This guy folds everything. If I get called, we hope for the best. Holz is rising, maybe a 9, maybe an ace, and this is what we are getting. I said there, perfect dream spot. How much can we get? And actually in my mind, this guy is not crazy raising. I watched the game before joining a little, or I have seen that player before. We definitely want to build the pot ourselves. I think everything less than like a large overbet is absolutely waste of our hand strength. He will definitely stack off a 7-8 and 10-8 that he might have against any sizing, but he won't jam like 5-6 against a normal sized bet. So I really want to target that with the high chance of him just calling off jack 10, king jack, any queen, because it's a freaking top pair. I decided against all in, but I think I went incredibly large, 2 times pot. I'm not sure, right? It would be now good to know more about villain. He ended up folding rather quickly, so maybe he had a river 9 with like a 10-9 or so, or just a random 5. Anything is possible here, but I think I still like my sizing choice. Now pocket aces. So this is when really things are wild. I'm mainly playing 5k and 10k these days, so that's at least 10x the stakes. Getting dealt pocket aces, you see someone just disappeared to my left. So the table was breaking. Probably the last hand of that session. And we face the under the gun open raise. I'm 3-betting there my pocket aces. Standard sizing given that ante there. And we get a call. Really praying for a dry board where we can get stacks in against something like pocket jacks or turn top pair. Like what about a king 7 deuce here for us? And we get the 7-4-3. Not perfect. And it kind of feels like it already that, okay, some trouble is ahead. This hand can obviously bet, it can check back, but we don't need to think about that because villain jumps in with the freaking donk bet. My hand should never raise here. He should donk hands that are almost drawing dead against me. So he can have like a jack 10 suited with backdoor, something like that. And obviously he can have pocket 7s, pocket 4s, pocket 3s, something like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s. My hand is just a clear call, nothing else. And we get this card, which is not that great. If he has a bluff, he adds more equity right now. Maybe potential backdoor flush draw. Maybe something like ace 5. Maybe something like pocket 8s, maybe 7-8 suited. And now things get a little weird because he uses a sizing that I know does not exist in the game tree. He should either attack my overpairs, go direction all in and polarize here, or he should attack my ace-king type of hands again with a small sizing. At least this is what I thought in game here. And he goes for half pot and I'm like, what are we doing here? My hand feels more like a call. Again, he can have jack 10. I don't want to kill that hand by folding. He can river a jack and I get more money. But this just feels so much like pocket 9s, pocket 10s, getting one more call out of an 8, out of a 7, out of an ace 5 I might have to get exactly the amount of value he wants to get. So I was kind of sure he has way more in that hand category than it's like any kind of draws or nuts. And I decided against that, it's clearly the best to raise. This is the raise size I chose and he ended up calling. And again, we sit here, what is it, 74, like 100k in the middle, praying for kind of a safe river. This is what we got. I mean, you can guess my feeling now. He started tanking and I was like, hell no, what am I doing against a donk jam? I do not really find clubs, to be honest, like a 4-5 of clubs. But is that betting half pot on the turn? I don't believe it for a second. Like a 9-10, jack 10 of clubs is just jamming turn or playing differently before. Ace X of clubs, why should it be betting half pot on the turn? It doesn't really make sense. He tanked for a while and I didn't come to a decision of what I would be doing against a donk jam. Blocking ace 5, which is a hand he might play like that, would be a weird bet call on the turn, but still turning something into a bluff like 7-6, 4-5. I think the game tree he played does not really exist. It's tough to read him. And then a little relief, he tanked and checked. And that means I'm pretty sure the pot will go in my direction. I think I can't value bet anymore because there's still the chance that there's some kind of traps or he just plays a set like that. Or it's like, I mean, what is he calling down 9s now? I mean, that would be tough. So I'm checking back and I end up winning against pocket 5s. I think his play does not really exist. Still, it was a freaking tough one. And then the table broke, but shortly after that, we came back. We started the table again. Actually, I was playing like 50 hands, VP IPing 2 of those, losing like 50k in blinds and antes, open raise folds, something like that. I mean, I had some VP IPs, but always like nothing I could do really until this hand. This again is the last hand of the session, not because I hit and ran, but it was 1 a.m. in the morning and I had a little baby getting up at 6. I usually do not go longer than midnight, but for this game I stayed a little longer. So this is what happened here in the biggest pot I've ever played online. I call ace-9 suited. This time the recreational player is the guy with 290k in the big blind. I'm not 3-betting much again, and I want him to jump in here and bink a flop like this one. What could happen here? Maybe we need some info on that recreational player. He was pretty crazy, but we had some freaking sizing reads. So now we already played like 100 to 150 hands. I've seen crazy bluffs, even crazier call downs and some traps as well, with like very non-standard sizings where I had like a clear list of things what each stuff can mean. And now this is what happens. We face a check and I'm playing against this guy. I want to give him the chance to build a pot. This could be a good check. Small bet does not make too much sense in a regular game, but here it just opens up the action for him. Can be anything and he comes there with a check raise. Please spades, please a 9, not not like a tough decision, because he can give you tough decisions. I hope for some sizing tail of like the stuff I've written down already, or just a freaking cooler for me, which would be the best. And now I call, and the turn is the freaking gin card for me. Now, what is interesting to know is that he was very, very bluffy so far, but only with small sizings. And this here was what he did was a freaking snap hotkey 75% sizing here, where I sit there with the absolute super nuts. Everyone here on YouTube knows definitely that this is just a call. Everyone here of you guys knows that this is just a call. But I'm 100% sure that he has it here. Everything he did with his bluffs before was different, but I'm not sure what it means to him to have it. Is ace 5 having it for him? Is ace 4 having it for him? Does he have 6-8, 6-3? Does he have ace 7? Who knows? Like, all of those hands I just mentioned are possible given how he played so far. And the only thing I'm seeing is a risk that there's maybe a 4th spade or another card that scares him off to stack off some of his weaker hands. So I do some absolute bullshitting around here to just get the money in the middle. Like, really the biggest fish on, I don't know, like very low stakes, raising the nuts here, getting the snap jam. So that read was on, and now he had a hand that, I mean, I could have done whatever I wanted. We can call it a cooler in the end, and I actually feel a bit sorry for him for that one. Actually, he has the king high flush draw. And yeah, it's not a good check raise necessarily, but still, this is like the kind of hand where now I'm obviously super happy winning the biggest part of my cash game life here. But at the same time, I would have loved to have that against one of those high stakes regs, and not this one against the guy the game is running around. Some huge adrenaline there for me. I hope you enjoyed that one, and let's see whether we get more games like that one going.